Children, let us continue the lesson, the singing lesson, page number 93. In the last class, we have seen that the protagonist, Miss Meadows, carrying the baton and walking in the cold corridors with full of despair and reaching the music hall where the children gathered, and as custom or for ages what they followed, they begin the music class with greetings and presenting a flower, chrysanthemum, a yellow flower, a symbol of happiness, joy, and brightness. As she was full of despair, she was not accepting it. She ignored the presenting of the flower by her favorite student, Beasley, and it was bothering her. And she just, with a cold voice, she said that, page 14, please. And she wants the children to directly go into the class. Staggering moment. Staggering is unsteady moment. Mary blushed until the tears stood in her eyes because Mary was completely ignored by the music teacher, Miss Meadows. Her eyes were full of tears because she was ignored in front of the group of girls. But Miss Meadows was gone back to the music stand. Her voice rang through the music hall. But Miss Meadows didn't bother that. She didn't think about what bothers her student Mary. She started with the lesson. It is because the writer wants to tell how a person who is full of despair, taking the responsibility in everyday routine, that is a common man problem, and which are normal and common people carrying a extraordinary problems which they are facing here. So here Miss Meadows also facing a problem in her personal life, full of despair because of the letter she received from her fiancé who was engaged some time before. Page 14. We will begin with page 14, a lament. As she was undergoing that grief in her heart, mourning in her heart, she wants the day lesson also on lament. Lament is a song of grief or mourning. Now, girls, you ought to know it by this time. We shall take it all together, not in parts, all together. So she didn't want the children to sing in parts. Different musical note they sing in the classes, but today she wants all the children will sing together. And without expression, she wants the children to sing very dull. Sing it, though, quite simply, beating time with the left hand. So she wants the students to sing in a very low note. She raised the baton, and again I said it's a stick-like thing which they use to lead the students who are learning the music. She tapped the music stand twice. Down came Mary on that opening chord. So she just gave the order to Mary, who was an accompaniment, and she started the note. Down came all those left hands, beating the air, and in chimed those young mournful voices. chimed means all of them sang together with a low, mournful voice. The song goes like this. So she has chosen the song which reflects her feeling. Fast, too fast, fade the roses of pleasure. Soon autumn yields unto winter drear. Fleety, fleety, music's gay measures passes away from the listening ear. So here the poem is also, the song is also based on that. What it says? The pleasure of the blossom of the rose very soon fades. And good heavens, what could be more tragic than that lament? So she is feeling that grief in her heart along with the song. Every note was a sigh. So the song, the lament was full of sigh. Once you are in distress, you may be liking to sing such song. So she is full of despair, and the song also having full of sigh, a sob, a groan, grief, of awful mournfulness. Miss Meadows lifted her arms in the white gown and began conducting with both hands. So she started teaching the children the music. I feel more and more strongly that her marriage would be a mistake. So, when she was teaching the children, her thoughts are after that letter only. So it is ringing in her ears. I feel more and more strongly that our marriage would be a mistake. This is the letter which is written by her fiance. She beat, and the voices cried. Fleety, Fleety, the singing is going on. What could have possessed him to write such a letter? So the singing classes are going on. The children are singing the song, but in her thought, the letter, the words which are written in the letter is going on in her thought. And what could have led up to it? It came out of nothing. His last letter had been all about a fumed oak bookcase he had bought for our books. That means in the last letter he wrote very nice thing, our books. That means combine both of their lives. Our books and a nutty little hall stand. So what he bought for her as a gift, he mentioned in that he had seen a very neat affair with a carved owl on a bracket holding three hat brushes in its claws. So the expression he gave and the description of his letter is coming again and again. The last letter was so loving and caring, and how she had smiled at that. So she was remembering the last letter which was written with love. So, like a man to think one needed three hat brushes. So, a family, he wanted to have a family, three. Um, like a man to think one needed three hat brushes. That means one to have a complete life. From the listening ear sang the voices. So she is one side listening the song and the effect of the words of that lament, and also other side her thoughts are filled with the words which are written by him in the letter. Once again, once again, so she is asking the children to sing again, said Miss Meadows, but this time in parts. First, she said that no one will sing in parts, or together you will sing. Now she wants the children to sing in parts, still without expression. You will sing in parts, soprano, alto, like that, but you will not have any expression with simple note. Fast are too fast with the gloom of the controls. Lowest female voice they were singing. singing voices. So all the girls were singing in a lowest voice, the same lament. One could scarcely help shuddering, fade the roses of pleasure. So that sound was so shaking, so like that, shaking with fear. Fade the roses of pleasure. Last time he had come to see her, Basil had worn a rose in his buttonhole. So the scene which she spent with her fiancé is coming again and again. So first he thought of the letter and compared the other letter, and she is connecting the life of her with a song. So when they were singing that rose in the song, she is thinking of her fiancé who came last time to meet her, wearing a rose, a red rose in his buttonhole. How handsome he had looked in that bright blue suit with that dark red rose. So last time when he came to meet her, he wore a blue suit and also wearing a dark red rose in his buttonhole, and he was looking so beautiful, handsome. First he stroked, and how he behaved. First he stroked his hair like these days the children do. Then his mustache and his teeth gleamed when he smiled. He gleamed with full, showing all his teeth, and he smiled. So that scene came before her. So she was thinking and be troubled in her heart. What happened to Basil? Once he wrote very nice letter. Once he came to meet me with a handsome look. And all the thoughts are going behind her while the children were singing the lament. The headmaster's wife keeps on asking me to dinner. It's a perfect nuisance. I never get an evening to myself in that place. But can't you refuse? Oh, well, it doesn't. So she is thinking all about the headmaster's wife is always asking for the dinner because of her, her engagement and all these things. She didn't have time, and oh, well, it doesn't do for a man in my position to be unpopular. So the man who made her to trouble, she is thinking of music, gay measure. So again the song. Wailed the voices, the children were singing. The willow trees outside the high, narrow windows waved in the wind. So outside that, willow trees are known for sad, sorrow, weeping. So outside the high, narrow windows waved in the wind. The willow trees, the leaves are waving, showing that sadness. They had lost half their leaves because of the autumn. The tiny ones that clung wriggled like a fish's caught on a line. So that leaves which are there. So comparing the surroundings, the writer is taking us more deep into the grief of the protagonist, Miss Meadows. So I am not a marrying man. The voices were silent. The piano waited. So the singing closes and the piano stopped, but here in her heart and her inner thought, the words are repeating, and it is, I'm not a marrying man, I'm not ready to marry you. That it comes. Quite good. Sit, Miss Meadows. Quite good. It's good. You sang well, said Miss Meadows, but still in such a strange, stony tone that the younger girls began to feel positively frightened. So, quite good. Though she appreciated the singing of the children, but it was not in a good tone. So children were little frightened, but now that we know it, we shall take it with expression. So she wants the children to sing it with expression. Twice she asked them to sing without expression. Now she is asking them to sing with expression. So all this routine work with how she is troubled with her personal problem. So how a person in everyday work carries with the responsibilities, undergoes the problem. That is the story. Singing lesson, and how side by side, so the person is trouble. As much expression as you can put into it. So she wants the children to sing with full of expression. So here, she is in pathetic condition. So she is full of grief, but without showing it, covering everything. She is continuing her everyday work. But now that we know it, we shall take it with expression, as much as expression as you can put it into. Think of the words girls. So she wants the girls to understand the words. Use your imagination. So with imagination you sing. Fast, too fast, very quickly. The betrothal engagement with Basil was so happy moment. But how quickly it is disappearing, cried Miss Meadows. That ought to break out a loud, strong foot, a lament. And then in the second line, winter drear, make the drear sound as if it cold wind were blowing through it. So drear. So she wants the children to feel the word. Such yeah, drear. So um, she wants the girls to understand the deeper meaning of the word and sings. And she so awfully that Mary Beasley on the music stool wriggled her spine. So the person who is playing the piano, she is wriggling and not in a position to sit. She is just wriggling, uncomfortable feeling. The third line should be one crescendo, fleetly, music's gay. So she wants the children to sing with full of expression and understanding the meaning and feeling what it says in complete sense. And she wants a crescendo. Crescendo means a slow increase or gradual increase in the loudness of the sound, and it is a part of the music. So increase the loudness gradually. So she wants the children to sing in that manner. So fleetly, how quickly all these things are happening. So she wants the children to sing properly. Breaking on the first word of the last line, passes, and then on the word away, you must begin to die, to fade. So, like that, she is teaching until the listening ear. So, so you should increase the sound gradually. You can slow down as much as you like, almost on the last line. So, increase and bringing it to the low voice, because the last line is until the listening ear. So you bring it so low, and you can slow down as much as you like, almost on the last line. Now please, so she instructed the children how to sing it again with the expression, with the understanding the deeper meaning, and with different note, like changing the voice, sorry, not voice, that sound, loudness. And she wants that again, the two light taps. So she gave a two light tap on the thing to begin. She lifted her arms again, so gave two light tap, and she started, asked the children to start. Fast, too fast. And the idea of settling down fills me with nothing but disgust. Again, she is going back to the letter. Disgust was what he had written. That was as good as to say their engagement was definitely broken off. So, regret and disgust, that word definitely says that it is broken off. It's the engagement which they had is broken off. Broken off. Their engagement. People had been surprised enough that she had got engaged. So thinking of that, she is very much troubled because while she got that engagement, people were surprised to know that she got engaged. The science mistress would not believe it at first. Science mistress would not believe it first when she heard that she got engaged. But nobody had been as surprised as she. So she was so surprised. And she was 30, Basil was 25. It had been a miracle. She herself was surprised to know that she got engaged. And to her, it was really a miracle. Why? Why? Because Basil was only 25, but she is 30. 5 years younger than her. So it was a miracle to her. Simply a miracle to hear him say as they walked while when they got engaged, when he came forward to accept her, and she was really surprised to know that. When did they have that? While once when they were walking home from church that very dark night, somehow or other I have got fond of you. This is what Basil said to her. I fond of you. And he had taken hold of the end of her ostrich feather bow. Feather bow is a collar which is made out of the feather of ostrich. Passes away from the listening ear. The song ends. Passes away from the repeat, said Miss Mistress. So the day which she got the acceptance from Basil, he came forward to accept her as a partner. So that day she is remembering, and the meantime that song also passes away from the listening ear. So she wants that song to be repeated. Repeat, said Miss Meadows. More expression, girls, once more. She wants it with more of expression. Fast, not too fast. The older girls were crimson. Some of the younger ones began to cry. So they were singing with sound. Big spots of rain blew against the windows, and one could hear the willows whispering, "Not that I do not love you." So the surrounding also is going with her feelings, and she is repeatedly thinking of the words which is written by him. "But my darling, if you love me," thought Miss Meadows, "I don't mind how much it is. Love me as little as you like." But she knew he didn't love her. So she knew very well that he didn't love her, not to have cared enough to scratch out the word disgust so that she couldn't read it. So he didn't love her, so that's why he has written such a harsh letter. She can understand that, so that she couldn't read it. Soon autumn yields unto winter drear. She would have to leave the school too. Now, if this happens to her, that means her engagement is broken off, means she has to leave the school and she would have to disappear, and these all things are going in her mind. She doesn't want to show her face to the science mistress. The voices began to die, to fade, to whisper, to vanish. Suddenly the door opened. So she is full of trouble. That time the door opened. A little girl in blue walked fusily up the aisle, hanging her head, biting her lips, and twisting the silver bangle on her red little wrist. She came up the steps and stood before Miss Meadows, a small girl with all playful manner. She is coming to her, and the description of the small girl who came with the message. "Well, Monica, what is it?" The girl's name is Monica. So Monica came with a message to her, a child, a little girl with a playful manner, Oh, if you please, Miss Meadows, said the little girl, gasping. Miss York wants to see you in the mistress' room. So she gave the message that you are um, called by Miss York in her room. Very well, said Miss Meadows. Okay, LB. And she called to the girls. I shall put you on your honor to talk quietly while I am away. So she is instructing the girls, talk quietly while I am out. But they were too subdued to do anything else. Most of them were blowing their noses. They were just reacting and they were not talking much. The corridors were silent and cold. All surrounding is also cooperating with her feelings. They echoed to Miss Meadows' steps. So there is quietness in the corridor. While she was walking, the sound of her steps is echoed. The headmistress sat at her desk. Headmistress in her room. She is there. For a moment, she did not look up. She was, as usual, disentangling her eyeglasses, which had got caught in her lace tie. So, the description of the headmistress is given, the way she sits, and in the beginning, she didn't notice who is there. Sit down, Miss Meadows, she said very kindly. Sit down, Miss Meadows, she said very kindly to her. And then she picked up a pink envelope from the blotting pad. So she took up a envelope. I sent for I sent for you just now because this telegram has come for you. She wanted to give a telegram to Miss Meadows. So this is the telegram I have received. Yeah, I want to give it to you. A telegram for me? Miss Yacht? So she is wondering. Basil, he had committed suicide, decided Miss Meadows. So when she was taking the telegram, she thought that Basil must have he had committed suicide. So in her thought, it's going on. Her hand flew out, but Miss Yacht held the telegram back a moment. I hope it's not bad news, she said. So more than kindly, and Miss Meadows tore it open. So giving the telegram and give a positive talk that I hope it will not have any bad news for you. And pay no attention to letter, must have been mad. So she is reading the letter. The letter says like this. Pay no attention to letter, must have been mad. What had stand today? Basil. She read it. She read. It is written like that. Basil gave a note that don't mind the letter which I sent before this letter. When I was writing the letter, I must have been mad. I was not in a good mood. So don't think of that letter. She couldn't take her eyes off that telegram. She is wondered to see that letter which is talking good about. No, a good news. I do hope it's nothing very serious, said Miss Viot, leaning forward. So when Miss Viot seeing her expression, she said, nothing is bad, I hope, Miss Meadows. Oh no, thank you, Miss Viot blushed. She was so feeling shy, and it's nothing bad at all, ma'am. It is nothing bad at all. It's not at all bad. And she gave one apologetic little laugh. So Miss Yard said that it's from my fiancé, saying that there was a pause. She didn't want to say everything. I see, said Miss Yard. And another pass. Then you have 15 minutes more of your class, Miss Meadows, haven't you? Your class is not yet over. It is your class time. This is during your class hours. That means 15 minutes left to complete your class. So she gave a strong note. Yes, Miss Yard. She got up. She half ran towards the door. She wants to leave immediately to continue the class. Oh, just 1 minute, Miss Meadows, said Riot. I must say, I don't approve of my teachers having telegrams sent to them in school hours, unless in case of very bad news. So, she is a headmistress. She warned her. See, in the next time, I don't want you get any telegram during class hours unless it is a bad news. So now she has not got that news which is bad. So she is warning it. Your telegram should not disturb your class. So see to that. You should not receive any telegram during your classes unless of any death news or any sad news or a very serious accident or something to that effect. Good news, Miss Meadows will always keep you know. So you keep it. Oh, on the wings of hope, of love, of joy. So in the beginning, the writer gave a picture of Miss Meadows full of despair. And so how is the story ends? On the wings of hope, she is having the wing to fly with hope of love, of joy. Miss Meadows sped back to the music hall. She ran to the music hall, up the aisle, up the steps, over to the piano. So, the same manner she walked in the path and went to the stage and near the piano. Page 32. Instead of 14, turn page 32. She said, page 32. And picking up the yellow chrysanthemum, she held it to her lips to hide her smile. So she took the flower also and kept it in her mouth to hide her smile. She started smiling. Then she turned to the girls, rapped with her baton. So she rapped at page 32, girls, page 32. We come here today with flowers overladen with baskets of fruit and ribbons to boot to congratulate. So, with a song of joy. Stop, stop, cried Miss Meadows. This is awful. This is dreadful. And she beamed at her girls. What's the matter with you all? Now she changed completely. In the beginning, with so distress and grief and sad, and made the children also feeling the same frustration. Now, with full of joy, and she's giving the sound with the girls that sing it with. Think, girls, think of what you are singing. Use your imaginations with flowers of laden, overladen, baskets of fruit and ribbons to boot, and congratulate. Miss Meadows broke off. Don't look so doleful, girls, don't dull. It ought to sound warm, joyful, eager. Congratulate once more, quickly, all together now then. And this time, Miss Meadows' voice sounded over all the other voices. She also started singing along with them, with full, deep, glowing with expression. So, hearing the news, the good news from Basil, she changed how the situation of a person, life, no, changes the behavior of the people. So here she was very much troubled. She was not in a position to face the people because of the letter which she has received. But at the end, she got happy news and she was full of, filled her with hope and joy. She returned to her class in a happy, gleeful mood. And this title, singing lesson, it's really apt to that. So, an activity of a teaching musical sounds to the students and the lesson that is singing itself. So, singing itself as if it were alive. The story is about a music teacher who is teaching young girls how to sing, and the central theme of the story is music. So, when she enters, how she is heartbroken and her attitude and behavior reflects her feelings. So at the end, how she changes. So in the beginning, she was so sharp and she is full of melancholy, but in the end, she is full of joy. So the singing lesson is reflecting the thought of the people. It's everyday life. A person who undergoes the complexity of everyday events in the lives of an ordinary individual. So it is a practical difficulties and the problems which a individual faces. So this story and happiness are in the how a man is happy when is happy, how he expresses, and if a person is in gloom or in despair, how it affects the everyday routine. That is the lesson. So be prepared for the long answer, how to summarize the story, and critical appreciation also. You should compare the feelings with the environment